my name is Giselle and I'm from Peacocker, Belize. In this video, I'm gonna go over the top 10 things that you should know before visiting the country. This list is basically a compilation of interactions that I've had with tourists over the years, and they seem to make the same comments or have the same questions, so stay tuned. All right, number one, our native language is English, or our official language in Belize is English. We're gonna have a lot of people that would come here and just assume that everyone speaks Spanish. While we do have Spanish speakers in certain parts of the country, the official language is English.
Yeah, we're from Peacocker, and like, it's the global vibes to know that Peacocker is ghost over.
I'm happily married.
Even though we're in Central America and our neighbors are Guatemala, Honduras, and Mexico. All right, number two, while English is our official language, the most spoken language in Belize is Creole.
Surprised, I'm happy, it's very unexplainable feeling today.
Yeah, but what you have the messages, the comment man, it's good.
To be honest, at the end of the day, it come up to the same matter.
Born and grow, yeah, Belize, right?
Some argue that it's a language, some argue that it's a dialect, but it's what's mostly spoken here in Belize. So what exactly is Creole? No, it's not French. It has nothing to do with New Orleans. Creole in Belize is broken English, not broken French. That means that I have no idea what a Haitian is saying, and I have no idea what someone speaking Creole from Louisiana is saying either. Actually, Creole just means broken language, which is exactly what our dialect is. It's broken English. And here are a few tips for speaking Creole in Belize. So any word that ends in ER, you just change it into an A. So dancer would be danza, water would be wata, forever would be forever, and so forth. Hangover in Belize is boma. Popular expression is bomba clot. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's true. But yeah, once you get here, you'll hear everyone speaking in Creole, and I'm sure you'll learn quite a few words. When you see me, just say "where to go on," which is what's going on. All right. Number three, our currency exchange is 2 Belize dollars to 1 US dollar. We do accept US dollars when you get to Belize, so if you have US dollars, that's not a problem. In fact, Belizeans enjoy receiving US dollars because when they want to visit the US and they have their pile of US dollars ready to go, right? Our ATMs work fine over here if you need a withdrawal while you're here. Any shop you go to or any restaurant will easily accept your US dollars and just do a quick exchange of 2 to 1. It's pretty simple, so you're good to go in that department. All right, so that brings me to number 5. Belize is mostly a cash-based country, which means that you should have cash on you at all times. A lot of restaurants still don't accept credit cards, or if they do, they charge you a fee. Sometimes it's 5%, sometimes it's even 10% of the total. So my suggestion is that you carry cash at all times. But if you come to my bar, we just charge you whatever your total is. You don't have a fee, so make sure you check out my bar. If the place you're visiting doesn't charge you a fee, then they'll typically have a minimum, like, oh, you must spend $20 in order for us to accept your card or something like that. So it's just best to have cash at all times. It keeps things simple and you're good to go in any situation. This is a popular one. Is Belize a safe country? I personally feel like Belize is pretty safe, especially when I'm on the islands. I don't feel like I'm gonna be shot or mugged or anything like that. However, I do recommend that you are cautious and not reckless. You know, don't walk around late at night alone where there's no light. If you are on the mainland, make sure that you're also not walking around there late at night. And while I do feel like violence tends to be more concentrated in gang-related areas, you just have to make sure you are taking safety precautions. In Belize City, I would not walk around at night, maybe not even during the day over there. I would make sure I'm in a car at all times. But besides that, I feel like for the most part, the country is pretty safe, especially in touristic destinations. Number 7, while Australia has the largest living barrier reef in the world, Belize has the largest living barrier reef in the world, which means that it is a great destination for scuba diving. Check out my video over here, the most underrated dive in Belize, to see what you can expect when scuba diving over here. I personally have an amazing time every time I'm diving. I feel like it's a new experience every time, and you would love it. So we're very proud to say that we have the largest living barrier reef in the world, and we take great pride in taking care of it and making sure that that lasts as long as possible. Tip number 8, despite only having a population of around 350,000 people, Belize is very diverse and multicultural. Some of our most popular ethnicities are the Garifunas. Every day on November 19th, we celebrate the Garifunas on Garifuna Settlement Day. We reenact them coming to Belize, and we reenact this popular dance called Jankuno, where they wear white masks, they have a horn, they wear a lot of shells, and they dance off beat. If you can one day attend this celebration, I highly recommend it. It's quite a cultural experience. We also have the mestizos. I would be a mestizo. A mestizo is a mix between the Spaniards and the Mayans. The mestizos can mostly be found in northern Belize, such as Corozal and Orange Walk. My dad's from Orange Walk, therefore, understandable that I'm mestizo. We also have Creoles. So a Creole person, which in this context we're talking about an ethnicity instead of the language, would be someone who is partially Black. For example, a Garifuna person mixed with a European, or a Garifuna person mixed with a mestizo. I think that would make them Creole. I'm not 100% sure. I need to fact check that one. But yeah, so Creole is a prevalent ethnicity in the country as well. We also have a lot of Chinese. When you visit Belize, you'll realize that a lot of the Chinese own most of the grocery stores here in Belize. There's also a large Taiwanese community as well, because Belize and Taiwan have a very tight relationship with each other. The other popular ethnicity would be Indians. We have a lot of West Indians here in Belize. They're mostly concentrated in Orange Walk, Corozal, and even in Belize City. And of course, we can't forget the Mayans. The Mayans are mostly based down south in a village called San Antonio, which is in a district of Punta Gorda, or as many locals call it, PG. If you want to get a true Mayan experience where you get to interact with Mayans that actually speak the language, then I highly recommend you visit San Antonio Village. And they also have a cacao festival each year, which would be very awesome for you to check out as well. All right, how much does it cost to travel Belize? Well, we've heard many tourists say that Belize is not as cheap as other Central American countries, so I guess it is on the more expensive side. A meal on the island of Kikaker or San Pedro would probably cost you on average around $26 to about $40. In Placencia, which is a peninsula, it would probably cost about the same thing. If you're on the mainland in areas such as Orange Walk or Corozal, your meal would probably cost around $15 to $25 if you're dining at a restaurant. In San Ignacio, it's also about the same thing. So it also varies depending on where you're visiting. The islands will of course always be more expensive because it costs more to get the products to the island. All right, as a tourist, how does one get around in Belize? Well, I'm gonna tell you from now, it fucking sucks. It sucks. It's called the chicken bus for a reason. In case you didn't know, the bus is called the chicken bus. Basically, the buses here in Belize are the old school buses back in the US that have been shipped down, that are basically no longer good. They don't have seat belts. Sometimes the seats are torn up. And when you're waiting at the bus terminal, you're definitely crowded like chickens. You're like sardines in a bus terminal, okay? And it is hot. And then you have all kind of characters inside the bus terminal. It's an entire experience. I should probably vlog it for you guys. I would literally do that just for you guys, or else you would not catch me inside the bus terminal because it is an ordeal. Do they have a schedule? I don't even know. You kind of just show up and then ask when's the next bus. That's what I used to do. They do have the express bus, which means that it doesn't stop in every single village, but I'm not sure what the times are. You also cannot find that online, and you can't even call a phone number. So you kind of just learn what the route is by regularly catching the bus, which I do not, so sorry about that. But there is a new bus line called Floralia, and that takes you from Belize City to places like Danbriga and Placencia. It has AC. It's basically our luxury bus line. They do have a Facebook page and they have their schedule on there. So just Google it, Floralia. If you can afford it, you can take a flight to different parts of Belize. The tickets are pretty expensive. Sometimes when I look them up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I might as well just fly to Miami because that's how much it costs. That's my personal thought process. But from Belize City, you can get to a lot of places. So the places in Belize that have an airstrip are Belize City, Kikaker, Placencia, San Pedro, San Ignacio, Punta Gorda, Corozal, everywhere except Orange Walk essentially. So yeah, that's also a nice way to get around if you can afford it. You can just look up Tropicair or Mayan Air, which are the two airlines of Belize. Local alcohol in Belize is pretty cheap. Usually it costs about 5 to 8 Belize dollars to get a local rum and coke or local vodka soda, just a local mixed drink. The beer costs about 5 Belize dollars as well, so it's honestly really cheap to drink here. If you're getting cocktails and you're getting top shelf alcohol, that is way more expensive because the import duty on the alcohol is pretty high. We also don't have open container laws over here. When I had moved to the US, it was so shocking to me to know that I couldn't just hang out at Miami Beach with a drink in my hand. It was so strange. But in Belize, it's not a problem. It's just normal to walk around with a drink in your hands. The last thing you should know before visiting Belize is that we are very friendly, outgoing people. We love meeting tourists. We love meeting people from different parts of the world, and it brings us joy to share our culture with you. We love teaching you our language, our way of life, the kind of food that we eat. We just love interacting with you all. So if you see Belizeans around the place, make sure you say hi to them, have some conversations, and we'll basically welcome you here like family. All right, so see you in the next video where we interview various ethnicities like the ones I spoke about in this video, and we ask them more about their culture, to speak their language and so forth. Like I mentioned, we're such a diverse country. You're gonna meet people who speak Creole, Garifuna, Mayan, German, because we do have the Mennonites. I forgot to mention them. The Mennonites are basically our version of Amish people. So I'm so excited for you to get to know our culture a bit more, and stay tuned. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more information about Kikaker, Belize and anything travel. Bye!